Good afternoon. It's David Saline and Jim Saley from Drive. And today we
Friday,
have
David.
it's Friday. It's Friday. I know. And we have Larry Goff and Dustin Goff from Ace Auto Doctor. Welcome, Larry and Dustin.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Okay, so it's one of these long weeks, Friday, getting into the summer months and everything. So, Larry, why don't you take a few minutes to tell us about your shop, how you got into business, and now how things are working the shop with you and Dustin.
Okay. So my dad opened the shop in 1969, and I grew up as a teenager helping him out over the summers, working with him. Once I got out of high school, I went into automotive repair field, worked for the dealerships for about 9 years. And he was looking at retirement, and I was sick of the dealerships. So we got to talking and decided, let's have me come out and start handing the ropes over. That was about 1996, I guess. So spent some years working with him, under him. And he retired in 2000. That's when I took over. Been running ever since. We've got 6 bays, 3 technicians, a service writer, Dustin's a service manager, and a porter. We basically full service. We work on about anything. Dustin came, what have you been here? 2 years. 2 years.
Going on 3.
Okay, coming up on 3 years now. He also grew up working at the shop. Spent some time here during the summer, hanging out and helping out. Then he went on to do his own thing. And a couple of years ago, actually, kind of during COVID, we were running pretty lean and mean here at the shop, and decided that would be a good time for him to come back into the business and start learning the family business so he can take it over for me.
Okay, great. So now we're talking about third generation now to take over the shop here in the works, then is what we're seeing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I know there's a couple questions that I know that'll come up from a lot of our viewers, Larry, and that is that dynamic father-son working in a business, and you have the future planned out for turning it over to Dustin. But is it you two see eye to eye on everything and every day when you're in the business? The difference between generations.
Yes, they do.
Not on everything. We get along very well. So surprisingly, he has worked here in the past, and
We've definitely had our ups and downs.
yeah, and it was a good thing for him to leave, kind of get out there in the world, do his own thing, grow up a little bit, and me probably to mellow out a little bit in my old age. But I think since we've come together, in my opinion, and we can ask him the same question, but we do pretty well. I mean, there are some times, I'll jump down and just throw it on something, mainly out of love. And I just want to make sure he has all the tools to do what he needs to do to keep the business going long after I'm gone. So how do you feel
I
about
feel
it?
the same way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't really have any knockdown dragouts anymore. There's an occasional disagreement, and we sort it out usually pretty easily just by talking it through.
Okay.
I have a question, because you were saying, Larry, that you're old, but how old are you right now? And the
I'm
fact
50.
that okay, and you're planning. When did you start planning this out, that he was going to be taking over?
Basically, there's always been a talk of that, but without him being in the building, it was no more really than talk.
Mm-hmm.
When he decided to come back into the business, that's when it became real, and we started looking seriously at how that would work. We've been focusing a lot, especially this year, on training him. So he's been doing a lot of training, and he has a lot more that he's going to do through Drive, just to give him the building blocks and the foundation that I had. Because ultimately I want to stop coming in 2026, at January 2026. I don't want to be coming to the office anymore. That doesn't mean I won't be behind the scenes helping out with some things, but everything I do, I want to be able to do from a laptop on a beach with a cool drink in my hand, and assist him as needed to help him be successful. But that's kind of the plan.
Cool.
Okay. Now I have a question. Now you brought up something there that you're actually putting Dustin through a lot of the training that you've already had. How does that help get you guys on the same page, see eye to eye, and formulate this or help you carry out the plans to turn it over?
So it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, I think I hear him a lot of times when we talk about after he does a workshop. A lot of times he'll be like, "Oh, that's what we're doing. That's, I see we're talking about this stuff and we're doing that here." And, and then I'll say, well, that's where I got it. That's Drive has been a huge part of our success at the shop. We've been with them 15 years, I believe. So we go back a little ways with them. And I think when he does a class, he can see we're mirroring a lot of the things he's learning. And then they're adding into that, and it just drives it home that much more when it's not just me saying it, but he hears the instructor saying it, people that are in the workshop talking about, oh yeah, we do that. Or, I think it just drives it home and puts us that much more on the course that we're paddling the boat to reach together.
Okay. And now, Dustin, I have a question for you. As you're going through these trainings and you've seen a lot of the systems that your father's put into place in the business and everything to get it to run there, is there occasionally like you catch something and you're like, did we used to do this and we're not doing it anymore? Or, hey, well, what happened here? Why isn't this piece in place? Because
That never happens. Come on.
Yeah, there's a few like little things that I'll find like here and there, but a majority of it, we've been doing around here since I was little. It's a lot of the same pieces. It's just getting them some of the smaller stuff back into play again.
And the reason I asked that for it, because I know Larry and I've done the program just like you, and you go through the program and you start implementing and you're going in and you're putting new things in and you're doing that. You start working on bigger stuff or, larger scale stuff as an executive. And then if you're not constantly going back and spot checking everything that goes in, I've seen it in mine, something simple that it could be really simple and it's been out of place. And then you ask people, when did we stop doing that? And you get that deer in the headlight looks across the whole crew going, I don't know when we stopped doing that. Why did we stop doing that? Nobody knows. It's just something that it just falls out and it happens. And I think that's a big point where having somebody with fresh eyes go through it, or even getting a refresher on a class where you come back and you say, oh, wow, we used to do that. Now it worked really well. And I don't know why we quit.
Yeah, definitely. I see that happen oftentimes after we get really busy. If we go through a stretch, like right now, we got a heat streak here in Iowa, just hit us like that. So we're kind of just crazy busy really fast. So once it gets back to normal, that's when we really have to be more diligent to make sure we're still doing A, B, and C, because things start dropping out fast when people are hustling, and overwhelmed.
Okay. And I know another big thing, Larry, you've been a member of the top 20 for many years at Drive, and you contribute to your team, and your team contributes to helping you over there. Is this something Dustin's getting involved with too, on your top 20 meetings and everything now?
Yeah, actually, he's not getting on the calls. He was scheduled to do the top 20 meeting in Dallas, and Dallas had a snowstorm. So you'd think Iowa would have the snowstorm, but no, it was Dallas. So we weren't able to make it. So he's scheduled to go to this one, and he's going to go to the convention to get introduced to the guys. Probably not quite time to put him on the phone yet, on the weekly calls that we do. But I definitely want him to get to know some faces, put some names with some faces, because I'll mention them or mention what they're doing in their shop. So that's kind of going to be our first introduction, is at one of the top 20 meetings. Well, actually, hopefully it'll be at the convention. Most of them will be there, but then he's going to hit that meeting with me too. That's like the next month after the convention.
Speaking of the convention, just a second, I got to give one of our plugs here for Drive, because I know you've gone to a lot of conventions and stuff. But and I know, Dustin, this would probably be your first convention to go to. You probably heard about what goes on them and everything. From your point of view, Larry, what do you get out of the conventions when you go to them, or the expos?
Well, the biggest thing is definitely the networking, meeting other shop owners. You know, I talk with shop owners every week. You know, there's 6 of us, and we get on the phone every week. So I know those guys really well. I know their shops. When you go to the convention, you meet new people, and they may be doing different things that you hadn't thought of or your group hadn't thought of. So I think the networking is definitely number one. You know, and at this point, as long as I've been with them, you know, just seeing old friends, especially now, you know, we haven't been together in person for so long. This is going to be a big one, but just seeing old friends, you know, I think for me, it's all about the relationships, the networking, and definitely there's always some good learning going on there as well. That's put on by Drive. So you're getting, you know, workshop type material while you're there as well.
Okay. Sorry, I had to put that in there because I know we have this event coming up and we want to make sure everybody gets registered for it. And I think Carolyn has now posted a link in the chat for the registration. If you haven't registered, click the button and register. Let us know that you're interested in coming. But back to the other piece here now. Dustin, what parts do you feel you're the strongest at right now? You've been in the shop for a couple of years now. You're starting to learn to take things over. Are you playing the manager role right now? Or are you still hands-on at the service desk in the back? And what areas do you feel that you need to continue to grow on so that you're prepared?
It really depends day to day on what hat I'm wearing. I'm always trying to wear the manager hat, obviously. I still need some help from my father in some situations and things like that. So I just started taking that on. The service rider and like the car side of things, I mean, it almost comes natural to me. I really like doing it. You know, I really like helping people and making sure they're happy when they leave. So, I mean, it's a little bit of everything. I mean, like yesterday, I was out in the shop doing AC jobs. I mean, it was back to back to back. We probably did, I don't know, 10, 12 of them yesterday.
Wow.
Between me and the other 2 guys.
Yeah. He's the one running around the shop with his hair on fire doing Mach 5. Like
Yeah.
he used to say.
Yeah.
Which I think is a big part of the learning process.
Yeah.
You know, I think we all had to go through that. And I think it's a good part of the learning process. It's not, you know, we have other goals for him long-term. You know, I want him to be able to decide what he wants to do in his business. You know, but that's down the road. And right now it's trial by fire. You know, he's all over the place. Like he says, it depends what hat he's wearing.
Yeah, that's right.
But he's an excellent service advisor.
Hey, do you ever look at him running around, Larry, and go, was that me? Did I really do all that?
Yeah.
Just along those lines too, now, have you kind of talked to your crew and your staff about what the future is, and then he's stepping into more of a management ownership role here in the future, or is that something you're still working on with the crew?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked to them all about it. I don't think at this point I have a timeline laid out, and I haven't laid that out in front of the crew. I've showed it to Dustin, but that's something that I need to lay out because I don't think they really know the timeline. You know, they know this is the transition, that's the direction we're headed, but I don't think any of them really know the timeline, and I think that'll set some reality on it, I think.
Okay, well, the reason I asked if the crew knew, because this is the follow-up question to that. And I know Larry's like, okay, what's the follow-up question, Dave? But when you turn it over to somebody, a family member, a younger generation there, you've established a working relationship with your crew, Larry, over all these years. And then when you turn it over and they start reporting to Dustin, how is that going? Because there's good ways to do it, and there's ways that don't become very successful because they're like, no, I'll just go to Larry if I have a question. I'm going to bypass Dustin whenever I can.
Really don't have too much of that going on. It'd be more me asking my father for help. I get into situations I'm unsure about, and I don't want to step on my own toes, and I don't want to step on anybody else's. So I'll come to him with pointers, or maybe just get him involved, fully in it, so we're all in agreement. We all know what's going on, kind of deal.
Yeah, I think they, probably not so much right out of the gate, but now they know he's going to get whatever they have, whatever their need is, he's going to get it handled. So it feels like they're all very comfortable going to him. I don't see a lot of bypassing, and I try to head that off when it does happen. Similar to when we were the service writer in our business and we tried to get off the desk, every customer would beeline right for you. You have to get really good at redirecting them back to where they need to be. And I think we've done well with that. He's gained respect. We've got a couple guys, older guys here, and Howard's been here for 16 years, 18 years. Okay. Yeah. So that was a little bit of a worry at first. Howard's known him since he was a kid when he came down to the shop. So that was a little concern is he going to be able to transition and basically take orders from
someone that was giving orders,
rugrat that was running around here.
Little kid, right?
But they've done great. I mean, this crew has really, and I think it's all, put the credit on Dustin because he's come in here and shown that his care factor is high, not only for the customers, but for the employees, the business. And I think that shows really fast with the employees and the customers. And I think he's earned their respect.
Well done on that. That's great because there's the right ways to do it, and I do want to talk to our viewers for a second. But when there's a way, what Larry's describing here is they're giving him Dustin bite-sized pieces, introducing him to the crew, getting him used to it, and they're watching as they're going. But he's also there. He's there for Dustin. It's not like, okay, it's all yours. Have fun with it. We'll see you next week.
Yeah. David, we've never seen that happen with shops before.
That's kind of what went on with me in my day.
That's like, okay, I'm out of here. I'm done, right? Is that
not tomorrow or not tomorrow and every day after that?
So Larry, was that the transition from you to your dad to you? Was it more like a sudden, like
I said, we worked together for a handful of years, and then we were going different directions. He was keep it small, keep it right here. We don't need to upgrade the equipment. We can get the job done with this. And I was, going a total different direction. And it pretty much just came to a head. And he said, "That's fine. I'm out of here." I won't share his exact words, but it was something like that. And then that's how it went. And at that point, I was running the day-to-day, but I had no clue. I did none of the paperwork side of things. I mean, as soon as the invoice was done, I put the money in the drawer, and he took it from there, and I never saw or did anything after that. So that was the big, the big learning curve that I had, was trying to figure all that out without him willing to help me.
Right.
We just said, call the accountant. She'll tell you what she needs. So
cool.
Yeah.
So we talk about that. That was kind of your eye opening when it was turned over to you, Larry. Now, Dustin, has there been either training or something on the job, just one of those days that was like a aha moment where it's like, okay, Dad's been telling me to do it this way for a reason. Quite didn't understand why, but now that I see the bigger picture or see more of it here, I completely understand what's going on.
Yeah. So, like my dad was saying, I've been around the shop my whole life, basically. So when he was taking over, I was around a considerable amount of time, and I watched a lot of changes, and um, we did things that we don't do anymore, as trial and error and things like that. And from what it's grown from when I was a kid to what I am now, I don't think I'd change it a bit.
Okay. So, Larry, now that you're working on this transition, you have 2026 as your deadline that you're going to try to draw the line in the sand and say, okay, I'm done. It's over to you, Dustin. What happens next, though? Because I know is it full retirement, or is it vacations on the beach every week, or is there another adventure that you're working on?
So I'm going to stay involved, like I said. And at that point, I'm hoping that's enough to keep me busy, along with being retired. I do have some interests that I may take up, some hobbies, things like that. But I want to be done having to, get up in the morning, go to work, and that type of thing. So we'll see how it goes. I enjoy being in the business. I have a passion for it. So I would not be totally bummed if every once in a while in the summer he wants to get out of here for a few weeks and I come in and kind of run the show for a couple of weeks for him while he's gone. So maybe that would happen, but I hope he's in a situation where that doesn't even come into play for his
Sake.
yeah, for your sake. Yeah, so no real plan of like a next business venture or anything like that. No. I'm pretty well ready to take it easy.
So, Dustin, now when your dad took over the shop, he wanted to grow it and expand it. Do you have some kind of big goals or things like, okay, as soon as we get over, we're going to have 5 locations across the Midwest, and I'm just going to blow this up and make something big out of it, or is it just fine tuning and keeping what you got?
I would like to double in size, maybe in our building here. But looking at other buildings and other locations, maybe, but probably not. It just depends, though. We'll see where things go.
Okay.
Yeah, well, and then you also have, the industry's changing. So you change with the times as well. The different, technology is definitely catching up with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just trying to keep up with that is
Absolutely.
Now, just out of curiosity, because I have this question, and this is off of our topic that we've been talking about, but electric vehicles. We're talking Iowa, Midwest. Are you starting to see those out there, or is it something that's in your area, or you're like, we got a little bit of time?
We just had a Tesla in 2 days ago, so we're definitely seeing them. From Ford, Chevy, all of them, Priuses.
Yeah, a lot of hybrids. Not really a lot of full electrics.
Yet, but
the Tesla, that was probably our first Tesla, wasn't it?
yeah, that was our first Tesla.
So we're not seeing a ton of them here in the Midwest where we're at, but they're out there, especially the hybrids. You're seeing more and more hybrids for sure.
Okay, because I ask about that when you talk about the future of shops, because there's a big push for everything to go electric here soon, and I just want our viewers to know they're out there. And when a shop in Iowa sees electric vehicles, what do you think the guys in California and the big cities are seeing? So it's not just a big city thing; it's everywhere across the United States that these are coming. And preparing your shop for it and how you're going to handle that in the future is going to be a big thing. And I think sounds like that's going to be a combination of Dustin and Larry figuring that out over the next few years.
Yeah, we've done a little training, done a little tooling up. It's kind of dipping our toe in the water because we know it's coming. The electric vehicles, I don't think they're going to jump in super fast. They got to do better with the battery life and charging speeds and things like that before it's going to be real practical. But it's coming. They're going to get there.
Yep.
The technology just needs to improve.
And there'll be other technology. And there'll be another technology along with it as well. You know, we'll see. I don't know if everybody's going to plug into the wall and charge their cars, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. So,
Yeah.
because, like me living in upstate New York, it's like, okay, I can only go so far with an electric vehicle. Otherwise,
Yeah, exactly.
it's like, wait a second, where's my plug? But,
So, yeah, so that's it's just one of those where we talk about the technology that's changing, and it's not just that. When you're turning over a business, is what's coming down the lines. What is my son going to have to deal with? You know, what I don't know how many times I've seen this before, but I remember when cars went from carburation to fuel injection and electronics on them, and that was the same thing. There's a generation of people who said, well, that's over to that generation. I'm out of here. I'm retiring. So,
Yeah, exactly.
just
That's always a big question mark. You know, what is the future going to hold, and what is the independent auto repair industry going to look like? You know, in 10 years, 20 years. You just don't know for sure. You just kind of try and stay on the pulse of it and prepare for it. You know, like we're seeing it in air conditioning. You know, we got a 1, 2, 3, 4 machine last year and hardly used it. Now we used it multiple times already this year. You know, so but you want to be ready for it before it comes. That's for sure.
Yep. And go
well,
back
that's it. So that goes back to the planning and stuff that you do, and I know you guys do a very good job at planning there at your shop, because I've seen a lot of stuff Larry's done, and I know how he works with his top 20 group. Definitely a leader within the group, and just well done on everything you guys done there at the shop. Well done on your successes, Larry, and then well done, Dustin, on your future successes and how you're preparing for it and taking the reins over from your dad. So well done there.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And I have seen the shop before and after and since, and it's actually very cool to see what you guys have done. So, Larry and Dustin. And I remembered, well, when I was there, we talked about the camera there. When the heck was that?
Camera?
Yeah. Yes, that was how long ago was that? That's got to be
around 2010, I think, Jim.
Yeah. So see, there you go. That's 12 years ago. What the heck?
Yeah, tell me about it. And he was the right-hand man on the camera installation.
That's right. And now he's taking over the shop. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So
time flies. It goes quick, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, absolutely. So
it's like you think 2026 is a ways off, but it's going to be here in a blink of an eye.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's so true. Well, thank you guys for joining us today. Share your story and have a conversation with Jim and I. Really appreciate it. And to all our viewers, have a great weekend. And just one more piece on it. If you haven't signed up for the expo, please do sign up. It's one of those events you want to be, the networking, the training. And another thing, speaking about electrical vehicles that we were talking about, we will have some training classes during the expo on electric vehicles and how you should prepare your shop for it. And there's going to be some industry speakers from different training companies and Babcock's publications that's going to talk on that topic. So some roundtable discussions and everything. So a lot of big things, plus 12 or 13 other big topic training courses, awards dinner, theme night, and much, much, much more.
Lots of fun.
Definitely go.
Yes.
It's worth it.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for joining once again. Have a great weekend.
Thanks.
And we look forward to seeing you at the convention, Larry.
All right. Sounds good.
And
Thanks,
Dustin.
guys.
Thanks, guys.
No problem. Thank you.